I'm Jordi Ribas. I'm a corporate vice president at Microsoft in the United States, where I lead the Search and AI organization, which is a team of about 2,000 people, including engineers, data scientists, PMs. We're all working primarily on the Microsoft Bing search engine and Microsoft Search in Bing for Enterprise. But in addition, we also contribute advanced AI technology to other products and services at Microsoft, including Windows, Office, and Azure. I'm originally from Manresa, which is a small city about an hour away from Barcelona. And I spent time in Barcelona growing up, obviously, and I actually studied my undergraduate degree in Barcelona at the Escola d'Enginyeria La Salle. I got my degree in technical engineering in telecommunications. And then I moved on and studied my master's and PhD in the United States. But I have always been in touch with Barcelona. I visit the city every year, sometimes several times a year. And then more recently, after about 20 years at Microsoft, I started an organization, a new R&D center in Barcelona that's focused on AI and also focused on improving the quality of user experience. I live and work in Redmond, which is a city near Seattle. And Seattle and the whole Seattle area is a very vibrant city with a very strong high-tech ecosystem. You probably are familiar with some of the big companies here in the area. Microsoft, the company where I work, but also Amazon is also established here in the Seattle area as the headquarters. And it's also a city that has hundreds of high-tech companies. And again, a very intense ecosystem, especially in high-tech. It also has other companies that you probably are familiar with, like Starbucks, Nordstrom's, Alaska Airlines, Boeing. And so definitely there is a lot of a variety of different talent and companies in the area that makes this a very interesting place to live and to work. It's a very beautiful city from the point of view of natural beauty. It's got beautiful mountains, lakes. In fact, it reminds me a lot of Barcelona in terms of how attractive the city is. And I think one of the aspects of the city that has really been important in terms of growing this high-tech ecosystem is that it's an attractive place to live, which again reminds me of Barcelona, while at the same time, we have had the luck, if you like, that some folks like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos have created companies like Microsoft and Amazon that have become these big multinational companies. And so when I think about Seattle, I see a lot of parallels with Barcelona. And I think a lot of the same elements that have contributed to help Seattle become one of the top centers in the world for high tech are also in Barcelona. And I think maybe we just need a little bit of luck, see if we have a Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos someday. But in terms of all the elements, the talent, the attractiveness of the city, all those elements are there as well. This is a hard one because I don't like to talk too much about myself or my achievements, and in part because I think I'm very far from the likes of Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos, as I was saying, of other folks that are here in the area of Seattle, which are people who have achieved a lot, obviously. That said, I am grateful to, for example, have been able to reach the level of corporate vice president at Microsoft, which is difficult. There is a quota in the company, and there's a very limited number of corporate vice presidents. And I think I was the first Catalan and Spanish person to achieve this level here at the company. And this obviously was a result of many years of hard work across multiple divisions at the company. I've worked in Windows, Xbox, and more recently in the search group, which I now lead. And frankly, I've had some luck as well. There have been some people who've sponsored me and have helped me in my journey and have given me the opportunity to try to bring forward products and businesses in the company. And then maybe on the academic front, I feel that getting my PhD in electrical engineering, which was focused on signal processing and AI at the University of Michigan, was probably my biggest academic achievement. At the time I went to Michigan, it was in the top 5 ranked universities in electrical engineering in the United States, with the likes of MIT, Stanford, Berkeley. And it was difficult to go through the program and to finish and get the PhD. And it still is something that gives me a lot of confidence, especially because at the beginning of my PhD, when I started working, the PhD thesis was also published in different international conferences. And in one of them, I was given the best paper award of the international conference. And so that, again, is also, that's given me a lot of confidence moving forward. Now, more at the personal level, I feel that maybe my main achievement is my family. I think all of us, after going through the pandemic, have probably become closer to our families and realized that everything is relative. And obviously, career achievements are wonderful, but being close to your family and getting together during the pandemic, it really taught me that those relationships are ultimately what's most important in life. At career level, I am inspired by competition and innovation. If you look at my career, you probably will see that I have picked difficult projects where there is very strong competition. For example, in recent years, in Microsoft Bing, we obviously have formidable competition from Google. But the reason that I'm inspired to work on Bing and to wake up every day, so to speak, is because I feel search technology is very important for society. And ultimately, there shouldn't be a single dominant company. I think competition is what brings innovation, and that's what's all about. Like, if we compete effectively with Google, we're making Google better. We're helping Google deliver a better product to their users. And of course, we're also innovating and helping deliver a better product for our users. And at the end of the day, what I'm really inspired by is this ability to compete, to innovate, and make sure that in a way I can try to make the world a little bit better. Then more personal level, I have been lucky to meet people that have really inspired me. I think one example is Bill Gates. I've met him, of course, quite a few times. I've been at Microsoft for 22 years now, and I've coincided with him quite a lot. But one time I was by chance able to have dinner with him at an internal Microsoft event. He just happened to sit down in front of me and we talked for a couple of hours. And he gave me a lot of great advice for my career and in a lot of other things that I was working on at the time. And I remember vividly that at the time I was working in the middle of this format battle between HD DVD and Blu-ray, which maybe some of you are familiar with. And I was worried because I thought that that the battle was going to be decided based on company politics and not truly based on what was the best technology or the best product for consumers. And I remember Bill basically told me not to worry about that. He said, look, put the company politics aside. You cannot control that. Just focus on delivering what's best for consumers. He said, look, at Microsoft, we've been lucky that many, many people around the world have bought our products. And now we have a responsibility to make sure we give back. And that when we work on whatever we work, we do our absolute best thinking of consumers as the true North Star and thinking of consumers as really what matters and doing the best for them. throughout my career, I have seen networks created by people all over the world, across all sorts of areas. And if it's done well, it's a very powerful tool. And I have seen this with my own university, at the University of Michigan, where they have a very strong alumni network that's connected, where people help each other and give back to the university. And then at Microsoft, I have seen this in groups of employees. For example, there is a very strong network of employees from Israel, and they help each other, they support each other, and it's not a surprise that if you look at Microsoft, one of the bigger R&D sites in the company is Israel. And that's very good for the company because we're able to tap into very strong Israeli talent. And it's very good for Israel as well. And I feel like in Barcelona, say Catalonia, Spain, we need to do better at this, right? I don't think we help each other as much. I don't think we're as connected. And I do believe that these networks are very powerful tools that are mutually beneficial, in this case, for us, for the city, and for the companies that we work with. And if these groups have been able to do this great work and this impact in places like Tel Aviv, we should be able to do the same for Barcelona. As I was saying, it is really important for us to have a strategy as a city and to have these connections and this network because little details matter. We can start with investments in Barcelona that end up growing and becoming big things in the future. And we really need to have a long-term view of how these investments evolve. And I think having an organization that can really help us come together, talk to each other, understand what each other is doing, and help us reinforce some of the values of the city. I think it plants these seeds that we can leverage in the future to be able to really make the city and the ecosystem stronger. So I think everyone in this network has really the opportunity to do great things for Barcelona. And I would just like to encourage you all to do that. And sometimes it starts with little things. You plant seeds and then they grow. And I'll give you an example. I remember at Microsoft, this was over 20 years ago, we started this research laboratory in China. At the time, China had a lot of talent, but it was not really well known as a high-tech country per se. And then this research laboratory kept growing. We were able to tap into very strong talent within the China universities and so on. And then what we noticed is that more companies came about. They did the same. Obviously, there were companies even before Microsoft was there. And this ecosystem started growing. And then China themselves started their own companies. And you've probably all heard of Baidu, Tencent, Alibaba. These are very, very powerful companies right now. And they've created this very strong high-tech ecosystem in China. And what you may not know is that a lot of the executives in these companies actually are ex-Microsoft. And they started from this little research organization that was put over 20 years ago. And I'm explaining this story because I think the same can happen in Barcelona. Already, there is a vibrant ecosystem of startups, a lot of companies, like in our case, Microsoft. We are putting important research and development laboratory in the city. And I think that this is all very beneficial for our respective companies. We can all obviously tap into the talent and the attractiveness of the city, but it's also very good for the city. It's very good for Barcelona. It's very good for Catalonia and for Spain. And so I think we can all put our little seed and together we can really make a difference and we can all make it happen. And again, turn Barcelona in the next 10 plus years into one of the top high-tech ecosystems in the world.